So I guess it's good that you're in a hurry because you just can't even like worry about it. You're like, I gotta go. There's like no arguing with this toilet situation. So I mean, like, you know, like I'm sorry to make a blog about something so like vulgar, but that's like it's you know, it's something that you have to get used to. Chinese people are flipping crazy at driving, which is ridiculous because the taxi cabs in Asia, I don't know if I mentioned this in Japan or not, the taxi cabs in Asia don't have seatbelts in the back at all. You just don't have to wear a seatbelt. It's not expected. People are like, oh, it's uncomfortable. I'm not trying to deal with that. So, alright, so like, you don't have a seatbelt on, and you couldn't wear a seatbelt if you wanted to, and the cab drivers are like crazy, and all the other people are crazy, and the Chinese road infrastructure is crazy. And the people are crazy crossing the street. So you know that like it's okay. So it's like really dangerous, right, to cross the street. But these people are just like, screw it, I'm going. I'm not getting any younger. And they just like they see the car come in and they go anyway. But I guess like the only thing that saves them is that they go in mass. Like probably if it was one person, you just get like hit. But they go in mass, and like I mean. Coming from Japan, Chinese people seem rude off the cuff, but I mean it's like a different culture, so you can't really judge it too much. But they are like a lot more openly racist, and that's really funny. Like I get stared at a lot in Japan for being a foreigner, but I get like stared at here, like for example, today I was sitting at the subway stop, just like hanging on the steps waiting for my friend to come from Dalian, and I was sitting there studying Chinese, and people would literally stop moving on the steps and like what is that foreigner studying? Do you guys know is he studying Chinese? And they like talk, and they're like, I'm sitting right there and I'm like, ni hao, like, how you doing? And they just stare at you. It's ridiculous. Let me think of what else. I mean, Beijing's great. I went to the Olympics on Friday. I scalped a ticket with my roommate to the Paralympics, which is like the Special Olympics. We got front row seats to the water cube for like $50 US, which was awesome. And you go to the Olympic Village, and you can't get anywhere close to the Olympic Village unless you have tickets. Like, you actually can't even ride the Olympic subway system, because there's a special ring just for, like, the Olympics. You can't even ride it unless you have a ticket that checks out. So, we, like, double-checked, made sure we weren't getting ripped off, and we sat front row in the water cube in between the American families and the Japanese families. I got to shake hands with and meet the Japanese athletes. I have, like, a bunch of really sick pictures if you check my Facebook. It turned out like awesome, absolutely beautiful, like stunning, and Chinese architecture. Like if you see the bird's nest in the water cube, like that's just like, alright, so that's like the pinnacle for right now. But they also have like Chinese architecture is awesome. They have like there's a Olympic building that looks like a torch, and it goes up as this giant building, and at the very top it's like, and it's supposed to look like the torch flame. There's buildings that are just. They're just ridiculous. You come here to understand because they're just constantly building stuff. So there's just constantly like new ideas of just like crazy stuff to do. The air sucks. I mean, we all knew that. But actually, when it pours down rain, like the rain's really disgusting. Like it smells like sulfur a little bit. And maybe I'm being a hypochondriac, but it kind of stings. So you just don't want to get caught in it, but then like the next day or two or three, it's like beautiful outside. If it like really pours. I mean, if it's just like a rainstorm, like you're going to get like an hour or two of blue skies, and then it's going to be like straight back to smogland. I mean, I guess that's probably it for right now. Oh, Chinese people don't like to deal with lines. They're not screwing around, like, the sucker that waits in line doesn't get his stuff and then doesn't get to eat, basically. So they'll just like cut you and not think it's a big deal. And then when you're like, I was here, they'll be like, yeah, tough. And it's pretty ridiculous. So Chinese people don't really like lines. And so Chinese bureaucracy is like insane. either insanely efficient or insanely inefficient, depending on how lucky you are in a given time. This is for a candle, by the way. I'm not like picking up smoking now that I'm coming to Beijing. People who do that, by the way, just because the cigarettes are cheap, you're an idiot, because like breathing Beijing air is pretty much smoking in general. I really like candles. It's something about me that you might not know. IKEA? Anyway. So, like, I went to do my registration, and I'm still doing my registration, like, a week later. Every day, this thing eats up, like, 2 hours of my day. I paid money for a visa, right? The visa that I went through all the trouble to get. You'd think it was the right visa, right? Well, it is, but it's not a fake visa, but it says you have 0 entries. So you then have to pay for a new visa that has entries on it. So you have to pay for your entries. They don't just like let you enjoy your visa. I had all my like medical forms that I got, so I had to go and like not get them redone, but just I had to take a bus all the way to the hospital on like the other side of Beijing and get all my medical records like checked. Like, check, you're good. And I was like, thanks, why did I wait in this 2-hour line for that? And then like they don't tell you what you need for your final registration to get your visa, so you have to wait in this like 3-hour line, and then they tell you the shit, like, excuse me, then I'm just like so annoyed by it. Then they tell you all this stuff that you should have had when you got in line. So then you go in line, and then they tell you all the stuff that they neglected to mention the last time. So it's like a 3-day process, and you finally like, oh, you should have gone to that office right over there to get this form signed and photocopied. So you're like, oh, well, thanks for telling me 3 hours after that office closed, because there's nobody in there now. So thanks, idiot. And it's just like ridiculous. And then like the people are stressed out because there's so many people, and they keep coming back, and it's just like it's insane. So I don't know what to say about all that. BLCU in general, though, is a great college, and I really recommend it so far. There's a lot of really great people here from all over the world studying. The campus is good, the classes are good, like, good deal. And I met a language partner today who's actually a Chinese teacher. So we're going to get together 3 days a week for 2 hours and study, and like I'm going to teach her English for an hour, and she's going to teach me Chinese for an hour. And like we don't have to pay each other money because that just works out, which is great. Oh, and at BLCU, it's like the only concentration of foreigners outside of like the business district. But since by foreigners I mean white people, because you know there's like plenty of Japanese and Koreans and whatnot. But the white people in the business district all have jobs. So this is like literally like the only concentration of white people in Beijing with time on their hands. So people come over here from all around, like, and it's real sketch because it's illegal for me to work like while I'm taking classes. But you know, you get approached all the time, like, hey, psst, psst, you want to be in a movie? And you can just like be an extra in a movie from Beijing, like a real movie. And it's like you could be a police officer. What do you say? Like, do you want to make, you know, like $200 US? You'd be like, yeah. I mean, usually not that much, but like, you know, like 150. It's like, you know, 800 kwai or something. And you'd be like, yeah, okay. You know, like, you want to record English for Chinese learning CDs? Yeah, for sure. Like, you know, and it's like good money too. Like, I can get paid a good, 150 kwai is like $23, give or take, US. Yeah, around like $23 an hour to sit there and like read English out loud in a sound booth. There's jobs in modeling. There's all sorts of like crazy jobs you'd never think that you could actually do. And then you come to China and it's like you're white, so they just need white people, like white Westerners to do these kind of crazy things. So I don't know. Like everything's been working out great so far. I don't have time for a job, obviously, right now. Next step is to find an IE, which means aunt, which is another word for a maid, to get this apartment cleaned up for us. They cost like 50 cents a day, and like they'll just clean up your whole apartment forever, which is great. And I got my laundry done at a service the other day, and they had it washed and dried within 3 hours, and I paid like $5. Love you guys all at home, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.